There is a window in your cat's mouth that is about 48 hours wide, and almost nobody tells you about it. Everybody is out looking for something to pour in the water bowl that will make hard brown tartar fall off a tooth, and I have to tell you plain, that thing does not exist. Once tartar goes hard, it is welded on until somebody scrapes it off. But soft plaque takes about 2 days to turn into that hard tartar. 2 days. What you do inside those 2 days is the whole ball game, and almost every cat owner I have ever met is spending their money on the wrong end of it. So what do you actually put in that bowl? And what is the one thing you might put in there that will make your cat stop drinking altogether? Picture a Tuesday night. Your cat jumps up on the arm of the chair, pushes her head into your hand, and yawns. And you get a whiff of something. Not fish, not kibble. Something sour underneath, something a little sweet and a little rotten, like a dish rag that sat wet in the sink for 3 days. You think, huh. And then she settles down on your lap and purrs, and you forget about it. Because she is eating fine, she is playing fine, she is the same cat she was last month. That smell is not bad breath. That smell is bacteria eating the bone under her gums. My name is Della Hartwick. My mother took in her first stray cat in 1962, and I have been running that same rescue since 1994. 31 years. Somewhere north of 2,000 cats through my back room. And I want to tell you about the one I failed, because it is the reason I am sitting here talking about teeth. Her name was Tuna. Orange tabby, 7 pounds, came to me at 8 weeks old and never left. And when she was 6 years old, 6, not 16, I finally took her in because she had gotten quiet. Not sick, just quiet. They pulled 9 teeth. 9 teeth out of a 6-year-old cat. The bill was $1,400, and I stood in that parking lot and cried, not about the money, about the fact that I had been looking at her every single day for 6 years, and I had never once lifted her lip. Quick word before I go further. The old methods my family uses, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. 2 weeks after that surgery, Tuna started playing with a bottle cap on the kitchen floor. She had not done that in over a year. I had watched her slow down, and I had told myself she was growing up. She was not growing up. She was in pain every single day, every bite of food, and she never made one sound about it. Now here is what the numbers say, and they are worse than most folks think. By the time a cat is 4 years old, the majority of them, most studies put it somewhere between half and 80%, already have some level of dental disease. Not will get, have. And the thing that makes it so cruel is that a cat will not tell you. A dog with a sore mouth will paw at his face and drop his food and whine. A cat will walk up to that bowl and eat like nothing is wrong, because in the wild, a cat that shows weakness is a cat that gets eaten. And 40,000 years of that instinct does not switch off just because she lives in a house with a heated bed and a window perch. So she eats, she purrs, she hides it, and you get the vet bill 5 years later. So here's the question I want you sitting with. If her mouth hurts that bad, if the bone is actually going away underneath, why on earth is she still eating like she is fine? The answer to that is also the answer to what belongs in her water. Let me tell you what tartar actually is, because once you understand this, you will never waste another dollar on a bottle that promises to melt it off. Inside your cat's mouth, all day, every day, there is a film. It starts building within hours of her eating. It is soft, it is sticky, it is mostly bacteria, and it is called plaque. You could wipe it off with your fingertip. It is nothing. But her saliva is full of minerals, calcium mostly, and those minerals soak into that soft film and they set it, the same exact way wet cement sets in a form. How long does that take? About a day, sometimes 3. Call it 2 days, 48 hours. And after those 48 hours, that soft film you could have wiped off with a piece of gauze is now a hard mineral shell bonded to her tooth. That is tartar. That is the brown crust. And nothing you pour in a bowl is going to touch it because it is not food and it is not slime, it is rock. To dissolve rock off a tooth, you would need an acid, and an acid strong enough to do that would strip her enamel and burn her gums, and she would swallow it. So here is the counterintuitive part, the thing that reframes this whole problem. You are not fighting tartar. You have never been fighting tartar. You are fighting a clock. Every single day of your cat's life, a new batch of soft plaque goes down and starts a 48-hour countdown to turning into rock. Win that countdown often enough and tartar never forms. Lose it and it stacks. layer on layer, month after month, and that hard shell wedges down under the gum line and holds bacteria against the bone where no brush can ever reach. That is not a cosmetic problem. That is bone loss. Now let me show you the sharp end of what that costs. A professional dental cleaning under anesthesia with the scaling and the polishing and the x-rays runs somewhere between $400 and $900 in most of the country, more in a city, and that is before anybody pulls a tooth. Add extractions and you are into what I paid for tuna, $1,400, and you may well be back in 2 years. Now the other side. Prevention done right runs about 30 to 50 cents a day, less than a cup of coffee a week. That is the whole contrast. Pennies a day against a 4-figure bill and a cat with 9 fewer teeth. And here is what makes me angry after 31 years of this. Walk down the cat aisle and count how many bags and bottles have the word Tartar printed on the front. Tartar control, tartar fighting, dental formula. Almost none of those products were ever tested to prove they do a thing. The word on the bag is marketing. It is not a claim anybody had to back up. And that brings me to the mistake that scares me more than Tartar ever will. Some folks trying to help start putting things in the water bowl, baking soda, vinegar, a drop of some oil they read about, hydrogen peroxide, human mouthwash, and 2 things happen. The first is poison, and I will get to that. The second is quieter and kills more cats. The cat tastes something off in her water and she drinks less. Understand what a cat is. A cat is a desert animal. Her body was built to pull almost all her water out of the bodies of the animals she caught, and she has a weak thirst drive because she never needed a strong one. She is already running closer to dry than you think. And kidney failure is one of the biggest killers of older cats there is. So if you put something in that bowl that makes her drink even a fifth less, you have traded a tartar problem for a kidney problem, and that is a trade you will lose. Whatever goes in that water has to be something she will still drink. That rule comes before everything else. So let me walk you through exactly what I do, in the order I do it, in a house that has never had fewer than 6 cats in it. The first thing is not a product at all. I call it the lip lift, and it takes 10 seconds once a week. You wait until she is settled and warm and half asleep on you. You do not open her mouth, you do not grab her jaw, you just slide your thumb up along the side of her muzzle and lift the lip, like lifting a curtain, and you look at the big tooth toward the back on the top. That one. It has 3 roots, and it does more work than any other tooth in her head, and it is where trouble shows up first. You are looking at where the tooth meets the gum. Healthy is pale pink, and it lies flat. Trouble is a thin red line running along that edge like somebody drew it with a pen. Here is the trick, and this is the one I want you to rewind for. Do not trust your memory. Take a photo with your phone, same tooth, same side, first Sunday of every month, and put it in an album, because gum disease moves so slow that your eye adjusts to it. You will look at that red line for 2 years and never see it change. The photos see it. Second thing is the bowl, and this is where you have to be picky. There is an organization called the Veterinary Oral Health Council. Their website is vohc.org, and the list is free to look at. What they do is take products from companies and test whether they actually reduce plaque or tartar, and if it passes, it gets their seal. That seal is the only thing on any package in that entire aisle that means anything at all. Everything else is a word somebody printed. So do not buy a water additive because the bottle says dental. Pull that list up on your phone in the store and check the name against it. The one I have kept in my house for years is a product called Healthy Mouth. And last I looked, it was on that list for cats, but check it yourself because these lists change and it takes you 30 seconds. Now the trick for using it, do not just dump the dose in her only bowl. Put out 2 bowls side by side, 1 plain water and 1 treated, and start at about a quarter of what the label says for the first week, then half, then full. 2 things happen. She works up to the taste instead of getting hit with it, and if she's going to refuse it, you find out on day 1 instead of finding out 3 weeks later when she is already behind on water. If she keeps ignoring the treated bowl at a quarter dose, she has told you her answer. Respect it and move on. Third thing is the water itself, and folks skip this one, and they should not. Cats do not like drinking next to their food, and there is a reason for it. In the wild, the carcass fouls the water, so she evolved to drink away from where she eats. Move the bowl to another room entirely. Use ceramic or steel, not plastic, because plastic holds odor and it rubs her chin. Wide and shallow, so her whiskers are not pressing the sides the whole time she drinks. And if she is a picky drinker, a fountain, $15 to $30. Moving water reads as safe water to a cat, and I have watched cats who barely touched a bowl drink twice as much off a fountain. Fourth, and this is the one that beats everything else on this whole list put together, 30 seconds with a finger, not a big production, not wrestling her, not prying her jaw open. You take a soft brush or just a bit of damp gauze wrapped on your finger, and you run it along the outside surface of the top back teeth on each side, and that is it. You are done. You never go inside. The tongue keeps the inside surfaces cleaner than you can. It is the outside of those upper back teeth that grows the crust every time. Use a toothpaste made for pets, the poultry or malt-flavored kind, and never ever human toothpaste, because human toothpaste is made to be spat out, and she is going to swallow every bit of it. Here's the trick for this step, and it is the difference between a cat who tolerates it and a cat who runs when she sees you coming. The first week, you do not clean anything. You put a dab of that paste on your finger and let her lick it off, and then you walk away. That is the whole session. Second week, one finger touches one tooth for 1 second, then you quit. You are not cleaning her teeth, you are building a habit, and if you rush it, you will lose the habit forever and gain nothing. Fifth, and this is short, texture helps. A dental diet with the bigger kibble that shears instead of shatters, or a dental treat, and again, only if it carries that same seal. And now the part nobody wants to hear. None of what I just told you removes tartar that is already on there. If you are looking at brown crust today, she needs a scaling under anesthesia, and putting it off does not save money, it raises the bill. When you get the quote, ask one specific question. Ask whether full mouth dental x-rays are included. Because cats get something called tooth resorption, where the tooth quietly dissolves itself starting below the gum line. And by most counts, a third or more of adult cats have it. You cannot see it. The vet cannot see it. Only the x-ray sees it, and it hurts like a cracked tooth in a person. A quote without x-rays is not a cheaper quote, it is a shorter look. And before I move on, the never list, because this is where people hurt cats trying to help them. Never essential oils, not one drop, not diluted, not tea tree, not peppermint, not any of it. A cat's liver is missing an enzyme that you and I have, and the compounds in those oils build up in her instead of clearing out. Never hydrogen peroxide, never human mouthwash, never baking soda, never vinegar, water, and something off that seal list. That is all that belongs in there. Now let me back all the way out, because this was never really about teeth. What happens in a cat's mouth does not stay in her mouth. That inflamed gum line is an open door, and bacteria go through it into the bloodstream every time she chews. Whether that door is what wrecks kidneys and hearts down the line, the research is still arguing about, and I am not going to sit here and tell you something is proven when it is not. But every experienced vet I have worked beside in 31 years believes a chronically infected mouth costs a cat time. And I believe it too, because I have watched it. But here is the thing that matters more than any of that, and it is the whole point of me making this video. A cat will never tell you her mouth hurts. She will just get a little quieter, and you will call it old age. That is the sentence I wish somebody had said to me when Tuna was 3. Not sick, not off her food, just quieter, sleeping in the back bedroom instead of on the arm of the chair, not chasing the bottle cap anymore, less patient with the other cats. And every one of us reads that as our cat growing up, settling down, mellowing out. In this house, I have watched it go the other way more times than I can count. Cat comes back from a dental, 10 days go by, and she is on the counter again, playing again, rubbing on your leg again. Owner stands in my kitchen and says she is acting like a kitten, and I have to tell them no, she is acting like herself. You just have not seen herself in 3 years. That is what pain does. It does not shout. It sands a little bit off your cat every month until you cannot remember what she used to be like. So here is what I want you to do tonight, and it costs nothing, and it takes 10 seconds. When she comes and settles on you, slide your thumb up and lift her lip and look at that big upper tooth in the back. Just look. Pale pink and flat means you have time, and you should start the bowl and the finger this week while it is easy. A thin red line at the gum means call in the morning, not next month. Brown crust means she has been carrying this for a while and she needs somebody to take it off. Then take the photo. First Sunday of every month, same tooth, same phone. That album will tell you the truth your eyes will lie to you about. And come tell me in the comments what color that gum line was. Pink, red line, or brown. I read them all, and I want to know, and I especially want to hear from you if your cat is over 4 and you have never once looked, because that was me for 6 years with a cat sleeping on my chest every night. Next time, I am going to tell you about the thing I do with the litter box every Sunday, which takes about a minute and involves nothing but a kitchen scale and a notebook. It is how my mother caught kidney trouble in a cat months before any blood test did, and it is free. And once I show you the number to watch, you will never look at a scooped clump the same way again. Until then, lift the lip, take the picture, and do not let quiet fool you.